My very first shift on the Shreveport Fire Department 37 plus years ago, almost immediately made a working house fire. I remember climbing up the ladder into that attic full of fire and black smoke. Back in those days, we had personal protective equipment, but we weren't encouraged to wear it, and so virtually had no protection. Well, my message to the firefighters, and not only the firefighters, because if you think about it, there's personal protective equipment or personal protective measures in most any occupation, is to wear your PPE up front, take those personal protective measures up front, where your long-term impact is not as great on your health. My name's Sandy Davis. I retired as a Chief Safety Officer of the Shreveport Fire Department. I served 26 and a half years. I retired at age 50, and I recently found out about 2 years ago that I have colorectal cancer. Well, you know, we were and still are enjoying my retirement from the Shreveport Fire Department, and 1 week we're cruising to Jamaica, and the next week we're cruising to doctor's offices, and so it's a kind of a rude awakening, I guess is the best way to put it. The impact, of course, initially is shock. It's, you know, what can we do? What can we do medically and scientifically and through our faith? And then the long-term impact is there's always in the back of your mind, you know, every time I cough or every time I sneeze or clear my throat, you know, my wife is concerned, is that something to do with your cancer? So it changes drastically how you look at things in life, you know. I feel like that throughout my career and on up into today, that the Shreveport Fire Department has done everything they could to stay out in front of the latest innovations in personal protective equipment. They provide it for the firefighters, and it's up to the individual firefighters to whether they take advantage of that or not. You know, it's important for the firefighters to remember that the potential for exposure to those exhaust fumes from that diesel when it first fires up have the same carcinogenic effect that they would get from a fire, a working fire. It's a incomplete combustion of carbon-based products is all it is, same thing. It's just coming out the tailpipe of the truck instead of coming out the roof of a house. I think the message that I want to get across to the firefighters in particular, because that's where my heart is, because that's where I spent my entire adult life, and of course I have a son on the job, is wear your personal protective equipment, because it not only impacts you, but it impacts your family for generations to come. He finally says, "Man, that batter's good, but that's the blandest thing I've ever tasted in my life." So he realized it was a rubber band. When we complete this round of chemo, which we'll complete shortly, just within the next few days, we'll do a CT scan and we'll determine the progress that we've made. And we're certainly convinced that we're making progress. We're staying positive about it. And the doctor tells me that I'll be on some kind of chemo for the rest of my life, off and on. But doctors have been wrong before. And we believe that through our positive attitude, our faith, the support that we have from our family and friends, that life's good, and it's going to continue to be good for us for a long time. Every time the alarm goes off, every time you get on that apparatus to respond, be mindful of your personal protective equipment, regardless of what that might be, whether it's a fire, an EMS run, motor vehicle accident. Be mindful every instant, every time the bell hits, every time you get on the apparatus, that your personal protective equipment may make a difference in your life long term. If you're not going to wear your PPE for you, wear it for them.
All right, guys, be sure you wear your PPE.
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 Wear your PPE. Hey, wear your PPE. Wear your PPE.
Wear your PPE.
Wear your PPE.
Wear your PPE.